Hello,
So yeah, we
Enrique.
say there was no countdown there, so we just got the video. Yeah.
That's okay. We're always learning. Always the new things coming in with the new tools which we are introducing. So it's like at the BIM, we need to change fast to make sure that we get on the top of the wave. What you have prepared
Exactly.
today, Enrique? What
Well,
will happen today? Tell me.
we really have a very exciting guest today. We are talking now again back in English for the second time, if I'm not mistaken. Well, our guest is Spanish. Let me just put a quick logo. We put the logo right there. Perfect. There you go. And we're going to introduce our guest. His name is Ignasi Pérez Arnal. He's an architect by formation. And he doesn't like it when we call him like this, but he's an agent of change because he's making happen a lot of things on the construction industry. And for us, it's going to be a pleasure to introduce him. So no more overdue. Ignasi, drums plate. Hello, Ignasi.
Yeah.
Hello.
How are you?
Fantastic. You will have a lot of replays. So we need to make sure that everything is well prepared in the beginning. I think we have everything ready. We can hear each other well.
Yes.
Perfectly.
Perfect. It was not easy. We need to say that on the off record. It was not easy to say. Definitely. Well, so as I said, we introduced Ignasi Pérez Arnal. He's an architect by formation, but he likes to call him ex-architect, and we'll talk about this during the interview, and also change agent. That's modesty apart. Okay, you are agent of the change of the construction industry, same as everyone ourselves. We're doing our bit with the BIM Cafe and other activities. You are also pulling your small rise of grain, a piece of grain to the change of the building sector. So again, thank you so much to be on the BIM Cafe. It's a pleasure for us to have you there, and we're going to start with the interview right ahead.
Perfect.
There you go. So Ignasi Pérez Arnal, sorry, our guest today for the BIM Cafe, and we are talking of the agenda for today will be what is to be an architect. The first conversation I have with Ignasi at the beginning, like why was the reason he made these changes and say, okay, I need to do something else because when I get out of university, what they teach me to be an architect doesn't fit with what I would like to give back to the society. So we're going to be to discuss this philosophic role of what is to be an architect today, how architects should be contributing to the society today, and then we will go through the projects and the different actions that Ignasi took through his different companies and entities to make this change happening and make it be more accessible and also widely known, mostly focused on Spain, but with European and world impact. And daily we'll have our discussion about a bit of the changes in the building sector, the construction industry, and so on. So we're going to start by presenting yourself.
We will not be, Enrique, we will not be talking about the money.
Oh, we're talking about the money. Ignasi, I don't know you know well, but Peter is really focused on money. Okay, he's really a businessman. You can see with his shirt and everything. So get ready because he's gonna look for the money.
Find the money. I want to see how I can because when we talk to the CEOs of the different companies, this is one of the major questions what they're asking is there will bring me any positive results. So that's in this season I really would like to find the money for when we implement BIM, when we implement some of the processes, when we go with the modeling. I would like to show them the examples how we did this, how the people do this.
How we can make money.
Just to save. Okay, sorry, Enrique, but I'm really focused on getting.
I know. We'll go for it. Because we are talking about also events and some summits of BIM that Ignasi organized. So there, of course, there's a lot of money and different people involved. So he can give us a very good tips for us to see how the business works in terms of the BIM. So. Introducing yourself, Ignasi, what I always do with our guests, I give you the floor, you take the word, okay, and introduce yourself to the audience because who better than yourself know yourself? So please take it over.
Okay. Thank you so much. Well, to try to introduce myself is something always difficult in the sense that you analyze what you have been doing during the last years. No, I can hear the explanation of what we are doing now or what I'm doing now. So this is enough. But I would say that probably from the times that I was studying architecture in the School of Architecture in Barcelona, I thought or I felt that I was not matching what it was expected as an architect. No, so for me it was quite easier to make projects, but it was quite difficult to use new technologies and new materials, and this is what I was expecting from the school. And then this was a problem in order that how to introduce new technologies and innovation while you are studying. So I felt that I was not an entire architect, or I felt not being as an entire architect. Something that was really clarifying the situation was the fact that I began to study architecture in 1982. In 1984, I began to work, and I was lucky because I was working with one architect that he had two computers. And in 1986, he bought one software called Mountain Top that was French one, and it was working in 3D. So I couldn't understand why people was using AutoCAD 8.0 on that time, no? And why I was working in that way, no? I was presenting my final master project, and the six professors in the jury asked me to repeat it because I plotted all the plans, and they thought that the computer made the work that I had to do. So I had to hire a person to redraw all the plans with Rotring and Stadler in what we call papel vegetal. So I enter again, and I got a 6/10. So a very bad marking for me because I was expecting the maximum. No? So I began to think that something wrong was with me and not with the university, of course. And then this has been along all my pathways in the life. No? So this is why probably this name of game changer is too ambitious, but is what you want to do, no? To try to put all the innovation, all the technologies inside your sector in the same way that all the other productive sectors are doing now. So I'm not here to make a lecture about this, but this is the way, the fact why I call myself to try a future change agent for our sector, a eco sector. So an understanding that is architecture, engineering, construction, operation, and not only building. And ex architect, this is a long story, but because I felt that I was not accomplishing what it would be an Hippocrates statement saying that all architects would have to provide shelter to your society. And then I was seeing myself that I was unable to do that. So if you are not able to do this, it's like one ex-boxer, no? So you are not able to box again, so you are an ex-boxer. So this is why I call myself ex-architect.
No, it's very interesting. Good
Very
story. Very
interesting.
good
Yeah.
story from the university. I like it very much. So
Well,
I think we share a couple of the very
I
similar.
don't like it, Piotr.
No, but we share a couple of these things we share, I think, in terms of our educational experience. That's very, very, very interesting because,
And yeah.
different countries, different universities, a very similar experience in a different domain. So, but I will not take the floor from you.
But
So,
let me say, sorry, that I am from a newer generation than you guys, and I still feel the same. So the problem on the university is still there, on the education in general. Like you are there, you say, I don't fit here. This is not what I'm receiving. Is not what I feel I should give to the work back. Right? Like this is the big gap between the education and university and the real work or the society, right?
That's right. And this is
Sorry.
why in the late 90s, with other 20 architects, we founded a new school of architecture in Barcelona that is inside Universitat Internacional de Catalunya, that is the International University of Catalonia, and in Barcelona we created a new school of architecture trying to introduce the vectors that we are working with, that is sustainability, digitalization, and industrialization. So in fact, is you are not satisfied of your reality, you are trying to create another one. And this is why it's I call myself game changer or change agent or new reality constructor. I do not know, no, but it's something that you are not satisfied with the environment where you are living with, no.
I love it. New reality constructor. This is great. I will steal it from. I will steal it from you, Ignasi. Okay? So I love it. This
I
is
give
great.
it for free after we will do business.
Okay.
It's gone. It's gone. So it's okay.
Fantastic. So all these things that you said, then it overcomes also to many activities as the BIM Academy, BIM Tour. We talk about the Congress all over all. But first, before to jump into this more business world of the activities that Ignasi is taken by, we will just quickly something that he already dropped a bit about the BIM Architect today. I just prepared this slide with some bullet points that we got from our previous conversation. And it's true that you are you are going to the world. Okay, I get out from a diploma with a 6/10 on my master's degree. I won't never, I won't remember that. I won't forget that. Sorry. And you get out and say, okay, so I need to give back to society after they give me with the university these 5, 6, 7 years of studies. So, what do you see Sorry, Ignasi, as a vision from today to the architects that they are being formed today at the university everywhere in the world? What do you think that they should be ready for? What do you think they should be give back to the society? We're not going to talk about the education that we can focus after, but what do you think they should be giving back to them?
Well, I will try to answer all of them in
Yeah,
a short time. No,
yeah,
so
yeah,
what
yeah, just a bit.
architecture
Don't
do
worry.
today? I think that the most important thing is not only because I understand the approach from architecture about doing things very nice, with shapes that are interesting, etc. But I would say that we have to do the same with the industry. So this means that not only taking the pencil to make things, to take a pen or a calculator, to go to visit the factory, to be in contact with materials, with new technological systems, with new construction systems, etc., 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 in order to see how we can do the shapes that we are imagining. So this connection with the industry, I think, and I feel that is necessary. No? And this is connecting with the next point. No? So from paper designs to digital modeling, well, it has been demonstrated that paper is still interesting. So it's something that I do not like. Let's say these people that it says, "Do you have a card?" and I'm giving mine. No, no, this is classic. This is old. You have to do it with LinkedIn QR, and we stay near an hour to make the connection. And then I will remember, I will never remember that guy because I have around 30,000 contacts in LinkedIn. So I will not get any news from this guy again, no, in my life. And this is a pity. So we have to be productive and we have to be efficient. So if paper and the pen is still useful for some of the functions that we are doing, let's use it. And the digital modeling, of course, if we have a lot of more techniques and technologies that are in our hands, why we are not using them? No? But of course, we can use a lot of softwares, etc. But the first thing that I would say is to use this as our new computer, because we have our mobile phone. All of the people that I know have a mobile phone, and in the work site, every worker have a mobile phone. So why we are not transforming all of our big software devices in something that we can do that instead of making the picture of one big sandwich that the worker will eat this morning for breakfast, that when he's finishing one room or one structure in the working site, he could make one picture of that. He can upload this in the cloud, and all of the system, all of the AECO chain value will know that this bathroom has been finished. No? So this digital modeling, of course, from my opinion, it has been very well developed in the architectural field, but probably we need a lot of effort to bring this, let's say, in a good way, to democratize, to make democratic the use of these technologies for all the people that is working in one life cycle project, no, of architecture or of building or construction. Lack of humanitarian implication. Well, this is something that made me to add the X to architecture, no, to architect. This was a problem. If you remember, on the 26th of December of 2004, there was the big tsunami in Southeast Asia that was affecting more than 250,000 people. Well, they died, but also the tsunami canceled like between 1 to 2 kilometers of the coast in 5 different countries in Asia. When this was happening, I thought, well, this is the day after Christmas, and here in Catalonia, it's very well celebrated in the same way that's Christmas Eve. And I thought, well, you have to go to Sri Lanka to help the people that has lost all of their houses and factories and ways of living. And I was unable to do anything because nobody, Red Cross International, ACNUR from Red Cross also, Oxfam, Intermon, Doctors Without Borders, etc. No one of these institutions had any architect. And when you were calling, I'm an architect, I would love to help you for the tsunami, they told me, well, an architect is unuseful in this moment because you are not prepared to do that now. So after 4 years after, in 2008, with 3 other universities, we assembled a Erasmus Mundus master degree, and right now we are producing 25 architects, engineers, urban planners that are ready to work in a post-catastrophe situation.
Wow, that's impressive.
Well,
very nice.
yes, but well, this is something that is connected with the ex-architect that I was telling you before, no? And the nice thing is that the people that is exiting this master degree, they are making their internships in these institutions now. So Red Cross International, ACNUR, Intermon Oxfam, Doctors Without Borders, and other institutions understand that to have one architect inside their structure is something useful, no? Because after a war, you have, for example, to know if one hospital, the structure is okay or not. You have to understand, for example, Shigeru Ban from Japan. I don't know if you know him, but is somebody that is an architect to follow. He's making this work after a post-catastrophe situation in different countries. No? So the low impact on society, that is true. I think that meanwhile who are building the world, we are not able to think about this. No? So we are more interested in the world of design, let's say, than into the design of the world. And this is something that we have to change. So an architect and also an engineer and a building engineer who have the capacity, I think, I do think, to understand the things in a multi-scale levels and in multi-layer situations. No, so one architect at the same time can see one region with a satellite view and can arrive till the one house that has to be in one city and it has to be located there. No, so this is something that we would have to as you say here, to refocus our world, our job, our profession, to try to be more useful for our sector and for our society. No? And also the construction sector has to do the same. You have to think that meanwhile the construction is one with the gross product cost or production in the world, we are one of the less product with we are one of the sectors with less productivity, and this is demonstrated. Okay, so how we have to change this, and probably architects have some work to apply here. No?
This is what I like. Sorry, Ignacio. This is what I like because it shows me if it's the missing productivity, then I can find the savings, and increasing the productivity will give me some savings for the industry as well.
And this is really related to business, but nobody's understanding this. So if we can join good architects with good engineers and good builders, we can save a lot of money. A lot of money. And if we are going to industrial ways to make houses and to make spaces, this means that we will begin to be able to send houses in containers like cars. So at the end, I have one Toyota car, and it has not been made in Albacete, Spain. It has been made in Kyoto, Japan, and it has arrived to my hands. So if I can make parts of houses in this way, I can do the same and send houses to another country. No? So this is about, when you are saying here practical works and design to solve problems, I think that we are envisioning a quite problematic world, in the sense that we are fixing the world in 2050 with 10,000 million inhabitants. So you cannot imagine the quantity of buildings, roads, schools, houses, hospitals, offices, anything that we will have to generate. And we are not a good productivity sector. So we are unable to accomplish these challenges. So
Correct.
what we have to do is to rewrite the way of doing things. No?
Fantastic.
So this is something that we have to work very, very hard.
So I think it's giving me some of the ideas. So now I like the way how you structure it, Ignasi, in the way from looking from the paper side, which is like the traditional, which is not bad. Don't forget about it. This is important to be still attached to the foundations, which is different. Then you're going through the transformation and reflect how you can just deliver the modular houses, modular buildings to the society, and be efficient in this, be ecological, sustainable, to make sure that you're not producing something which you cannot, it will impact the whole environment, etc., etc. A great introduction. I really like it. I think we will be able to find some money. I'm sorry for asking about the money, but that's really my theme, really, for this season.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. But I do think that money we can make. Let's say in this way, we could make a lot of money if we are more productive.
Correct. Got it.
And then if you are more productive, means that you have to use more industrialized methodology.
Right.
So why not to begin to implement this or to implant this also from the university, I would say. No?
Correct.
Some countries are doing this. So
let me take also reference to things we discussed. I remember to my mind now with other of our guests, with Ivan Gomez and Emmanuel Narcis also. But first of all, to answer partly to Pietro's question, sorry, where is the money? The money is already there. The amount of money which is moving the construction industry is huge. But the lack of productivity, the lack of effectiveness that we have on the sector is making that the profit, the earnings is very low. So that's the main issue. Ignasi recalled that right now. Also, Ivan, I remember he stated several times, we're one of the least developed sectors. We have a very small productivity. So that's a big barrier for us to keep growing. Add the digitalization and BIM as part of one of the stages of this process is the way to go. To get the most profit, always already there. Let's see, we have a very beautiful raw material, but we are extracting just 10% of the precious stone. So we need to be really making more.
Yes, sure. And this is something that is not only affecting the, let's say, the profession of the architect, because in fact, when you want to be a builder, are you going to any university to be a builder? Or are you going to any university to be a developer? Or are you going to be an owner to any university? Probably not. You can make some master degrees about that, but not more than that. No. So in fact, this is about the academic part of this equation. But you have to think that, for example, here in Spain, we have a lot of problems with the public bodies. So we are trying to be very productive to shorten the time to make any kind of building. But when you are asking for one license or for one permit, it takes only, not to go very far, only in Barcelona, our town hall needs around 20 to 24 months to give you a, a construction permit. Okay. And I'm defending that you can do this in 24 hours if you are getting a BIM project and I can analyze, put it inside one machine, analyze everything because you have all data there, and I can give you a report saying what is accomplishing or not in all the requirements from the Town Hall of Barcelona. So why to be efficient if only to get a permit it takes me 2 years? So
That's
this
correct.
is a problem.
But that's retouching something which is not really related to BIM, and we're looking for some of, as you mentioned, the governmental institutions and some of the bodies which we cannot, and they're not really just looking for efficiency, right? Because they will need to find a place for these people who works today on analyzing this work permits to do something different. In my opinion, they can start to learning BIM, and they can just start to digitizing the part of the Barcelona city, etc., to make sure that it can just be analyzed automatically. But I think you're right. I completely agree with the approach. It needs to be automated. That there's no magic there, and in fact, there is no intelligence when you do the checks. You just only do the checks, and that's really what you need to do automatically as fast as you can.
Yes. And it's something that I have seen some technicians in the town hall using the scalimeter in the screen of one computer. So uh, why is happening this? Well, my work here in Spain and other countries is to help public bodies to implement BIM. So we have been lucky doing this for the metropolitan area of Barcelona, that we began with 20 people and it finished with 124 people. And we are beginning the same in the Diputación de Barcelona, that is one government of the province of Barcelona, with 220 different municipalities under this structure. So for me, this is so important, because this means that these public bodies are beginning to understand that digitalization and a digital model is something that can be useful for them. And then they can spread the word, because under them they have 200 municipalities, 200 other town halls, 200 other counselors of urban planning, of this geographical information system, about works and public space, etc., that they could begin to understand that this is something useful for them.
But we're coming back to your story from a university. You have the sixth professor who will just do not understand it. They first need to understand themselves, and they need to move it into the bodies, right? Because otherwise, you will be sent back and saying just rewrite it on paper. So, I think that's exactly where you have it in all of the cities right now. These people they never work in the digital era of the construction, and they are afraid, right? Because they have the some position, they are very important in the city, so they will not say that they don't know anything, right? And that's something which we need to fight, and we are doing this with Enrique. We try just to influence the whole world to make sure that we move the needle.
This is really important. You have to think that right now, and also in order not to give examples of other places, no, but in the public school of Barcelona, of the School of Architecture, BIM is only in a subject that is optative, is optional in the 4th year. Okay, so this means that right now, no architect leaving the School of Architecture of Barcelona has in his or her head the importance of a digital model. And this is the problem. And we have to change that as soon as possible, because probably if this is happening in Barcelona, I can say that this is something transformed or replicated in all of the other universities around the world. So this is why this name of or as a change agent, let's say future change agent, because we need a lot of years to transform our sector in this way.
But that's good, Ignasi, because we start to grabbing some of the common themes in terms of the transformation of BIM, right? So one was the communication. You mentioned this as well, between the different actors in the supply chain, in the construction industry. You mentioned as well education, and the whole transformation of education is really important, because what we discover, and when we talk with Enrique about it, of course, the high education is important, but how the young people are consumed today, the education is through the YouTube videos of 10 minutes, right? Saying how I can do this. And again, I don't know if it's a good or bad. I don't try to judge it. I know that how they consume it. So I think we need to change our approach. So the education, communication, I think it's common themes which are coming in all of our discussions.
Yes, instead of education, we could talk about learning.
Exactly.
So it's important to think about how we educate future generations, no? But I would say that is more important how next generations will learn about that, no? And this is
Correct.
something that we are losing students in all the construction degrees in Spain, so there is less and less workers. So this means that we have to go to industrialized construction, because we will not have people that is able to put one brick with mortar. Okay, so and you have to think that right now in Spain there is no replacement. So there is the people that is studying to be a worker in the construction field is not enough to cover the people that goes for jubilación, Enrique, to go into pension,
Retirement, yeah.
to
Retirement
retirement.
base, yeah.
So, and this is a really very big problem. So we are not covering the people that is retiring with new people that can be in the working side. So what this will lead for? This will lead for a new structure of how we will build. So we need to industrialize that in order that we can cover the new demands of our society. So this is an entire. It's a thing that it's a puzzle that we have to fix all the different pieces, and we cannot miss any one of them, because all of them are part of the portrait of our sector.
Yeah, and this is completely. It's not like a one-man job. Definitely, it's not. I would even say it's not like one life or generation work. That's why we need to, during our life, that we dedicate professionally to the construction industry. We need to give it as much for the next generation. They can start on the second floor, build the third floor, because this change is going to take years, generations to finish. So I don't think we will see a fully digitalized construction sector which can get a very huge profit and high efficiency. But we need to contribute. We need to contribute to give it easier for the next generation, because now we are starting from scratch. Well, there's already some work done, of course. Maybe I would say 10, 15 years to start to do this small transition, or smooth transition. But we need to give it, have it think, let's give it already like 40% change to the next generation through the transfer, or something like that, because it's not a job that you can do by yourself with your company or with your group or with your government. This is a completely huge thing. We're talking here about restructuring education and everything.
Well, this is why we are trying to push as much as possible what we call BIM mandates. No? A BIM mandate means that when you are making an implantation of BIM, we have the theory that it can be done top down or bottom up or middle in up. No? So this means that it has been demonstrated also that there are some papers about this, that when you have a top-down decision, is something that is obliged, and then let's say for law or because the company or the studio or the office has decided that we will work with BIM, so everybody is obliged to do it in BIM, and then this begins to move. No? And this is why it's so important to do this. And this is why, for example, UK right now with Finland, Singapore, some other countries are the reference in the world, because all of them have a mandate, a BIM mandate, saying that all the public procurement will have to be done with BIM.
This
That
level of
all the new
maturity.
projects, always, so this makes the first ignition of the process, and then this begins to move, no? Because if not, it has been demonstrated that productivity of construction is low in all the countries. So it's not a problem of being Spain or being Singapore or being USA. No, it's a problem of our field, of our sector. So this means that we have to entirely change it. So because we have to be an industrialized sector. No? Sometimes in some lectures, I have been demonstrating that agriculture is more industrialized than architecture and construction.
I agree.
So
I agree.
and how this is happening, no? If you know the story of laser scan is being used in construction sector after being used in big tractors in the agricultural fields, because it was detecting the bad herbs, and with the herbicide, the let's say the toxic liquid that you throw to the bad plants, it has been visualized before. So the tractors, while they are going in a field, they are making to the bad plants that they have in their fields. So they are not spraying so many toxic liquids in the farm. They are pollutioning less, using less liquid, making less less trips, etc., etc., etc. So after this, right now, architecture and construction is thinking, well, is useful a cloud point for us? And of course, is useful for us to detect or to visualize or to identify things that are happening in the working site? Of course, etc., etc., etc. So we have to bring all of these technologies that industrialized sectors have, in order that we can transform our sector in something better.
Completely. Well, very interesting talk we're having here. We're going to keep moving with other topics of our interview. But yeah, thank you so much for this. All this talk, Ignasi. It's really nice to discuss with people who have also the same approach than us to the sector, and just making up together along the same storyline. Let's say, these things we'll be talking through is things that you want to achieve with one of your two babies or projects, companies, or let's call it umbrellas or whatever you want to call it. This is BIM Academy and the BIM Tour. So it's where you merge all of your projects about the transformation, also awareness campaigns for the BIM on the public entities and so on, with the BIM Tour, which is this cycle of presentation that we discuss, and it's available also to bring some talks that we are doing here with our BIM Cafe all across the industry to create and plant those seeds to grow the awareness of BIM. No? So what's been your experience about this? Because I remember you told me when we have the first conversation that after 10 years of been doing this, you guys are like rethinking now how to structure, how to face this.
Yes, right. Well, you have to think that, well, BIM Academy is a trademark of which institute, and which institute is what is the Situation Institute. And this means that we after the very severe crisis that we had in 2007 to 2008 in Spain, you have to think that on that time, all my colleagues, architects, if they wanted to be architects, they had to go to another country. And if they wanted to stay in the country, they had to work in another field, but not architecture or construction.
Wow.
So this is something that we began to work out, and we created this what is the Situation Institute, and one line was BIM Academy, one division, and BIM Academy was having a very good feedback, because a lot of people began to think that why not to use more digital modeling to make the projects, why not to use rapid prototyping to show these projects to the clients, why not to interact with other ways of making buildings, no? Because we are talking about how to fabricate houses and not how to build houses, no? And this lead us to begin to make some courses and some consultancy about this, no? But we had another terrible crisis.
Event?
Because
Mhm.
2-3 years ago we had COVID. Everything that we were doing was face to face, and we had to rethink our, let's say, our business model, no? And we began to work in a online way, no? So we thought that it would be good to begin to, because the fact is that here in Spain there is no public bodies activity around BIM and about digitization. So we thought, well, if this is something that the public administration is not doing, let's do all of this work by us. No? So we began to create these BIM tours, and these BIM tours, they are like sessions that they are like 1 hour and a half, 2 hours. Sometimes it's one day long, but every month we are touching, censoring, let's say, uh, the our field, our sector, and to try to bring the best practices. And the aim is to show how easy it is to implement these new devices, no, these new ways of working, no, to try to make that people is not suffering during this process. And then you need some concentration, but knowing all of this stuff that is being made, you have a clear idea of the next purpose that you have to do with your work, no? So the methodology of BIM has changed, and this brought us to work in Venezuela, in Brazil, in Mexico. So something that, following Piotr interest about business models, no, the fact of one crisis, you can think that is something very bad to suffer a crisis, but I'm more with the, let's say, um, Oriental way of thinking, no, or Chinese or Asian way of thinking, that a crisis is something cyclic. So you have to survive this this problem, because in sometimes there will come another problem. So it's something that you have to be managing and controlling. No, so it's something that, well, if we are suffering this, let's try to get some solution that permits us to survive till the next crisis. No, and this is why right now we are preparing a BIM summit in Brazil, another one in Mexico, and we are preparing some other big events in other places in order to try to democratize, to make real this way of thinking that this change is possible for the people, no? And this is our new, let's say,
Perfect.
our new purpose.
This
That,
completely.
that's very inspirational, to be honest. I think, Ignasi, this is one of the most inspirational discussion which we have. I think it's just so it's good. Thank you for that.
No,
Thank you for that.
it's not inspirational, it's experiential, let's say.
No, I know, I know.
Experience.
If
You are
you're
suffering something, no, and you survive to this cancer, and you have to explain how you have done this in order that other people
Keep doing
has
it.
the aim to survive and to do it.
completely, no, I hear what you're saying. So your inspiration coming from your experience. No, I hear that.
Well,
Yes.
Yes, so as Ignacio mentioned before, the events you're preparing in Venezuela, Brazil, and other countries and so on. This, for also congratulations and thank you so much for being such an inspiration for us as well, because we are not alone here in trying to make the BIM public and like opening it and making it easier to understand, like bringing people like you to our stall, to our talks. Like it will be fantastic to have crossover with BIM Tour and everything and collaboration, because this is the way that we are working on the same team somehow, right? And linking it with the Congress and Summit, I just want to highlight this point for you, because for me it's very important and also source of inspiration for our research and work focus now in Spain and mostly in Europe. Is that you, Ignacio, you were also part of the creation of those two congresses here. The European BIM Summit that happens in Barcelona, and the Congress of BIM, which is the biggest one about the construction 4.0 happening in Spain around the month of March, April, May, depending on the year. So just listed these two here, and I would like to ask you about mostly the insights and experience and the reasons why it pushed you to say we need happen this also in Spain, or we need happen this on the world. Did you see other reference outside that was not happening in our country, or did you saw that it need to happen also everywhere? I was not even aware there, because of the European BIM Summit bring also people from everywhere to Barcelona, and I'm sure the language is not Spanish, or Catalan, is widely open English and taught in many different languages. So what is your experience of building up such a big event, which now they are like babies that can walk by themselves?
Yeah. So this is something that for me is really important, because is what gave me a good agenda in my mobile phone. No, so to get contact with the best experiences, with the best players in the world. No, so this began in 2014. I had the idea of, well, because you are so focused in BIM, you are thinking how you can help to spread the word about BIM and these new technologies. So I thought, well, why not being in Barcelona? You know that we are the organizers of the Mobile World Congress,
Congress.
and this is something amazing because they are bringing around 120,000 people, no, to Barcelona during 1 week. And I thought, well, why not? Why we cannot do the same with BIM? In the sense that this is one sector that it was working with these mobiles, and we are doing the same with big buildings, roads, airports, ports, etc. So we convince one institution that is called is the Association of Technological Architects in Barcelona. So it's a profession, it's a job that exists in very few countries, but it would be translated something similar to a building engineer. Okay, so let's think an architectural engineer, no, that exists in Spain, and they agreed and put a lot of energy on that, and we began to do this once per year, and I think let's say that people says that we have done a good job with this, But mainly, it was really, really cool. Let's say that the first edition of the European BIM Summit, we got 5 different public bodies that were working with infrastructures, the town hall in Barcelona, the metropolitan area of Barcelona, and another institutions that they were convinced that this would be a change in the way of working, and they support the European BIM Summit with not only with some speakers, but signing one BIM manifesto. And this BIM manifesto was saying that if I have one competition to make one road that is more than 5 million euros or 200,000 euros for the designers, the engineers in this case, I will make obliged to use BIM. Okay, so with that, we change entirely what was happening in Catalonia, and probably Catalonia is leading this way of thinking about how Piotr, this is really important, how to make, not how to make more money, how to save a lot of money to make more things while
Yeah.
you are in a public body, you know.
Yeah, so just thank you for highlighting this. I'm not looking for more money. I'm looking for, I'm looking from the perspective of the people who just using the buildings, who investing, etc. So they don't looking for extra money. They're saying how much money I can save when we are more productive, right? And usually I'm giving this example of, when you have the airport, when you're building the airport, your margin is 5% or 2%, 3% as a profit, because the amount is so huge. Still, the profit is very big. But if you have the small construction building, you're building the house, it's just smaller budget. And if you will just do small economies, we will help the people just to have more houses. We will have them people to have more
That's right.
capacity to
That's right.
deliver, etc., etc. Right. So that's really my thinking is about how we can help, how we can find the money, because I know the money is the common denominator which speaks to the people, right? And that's really, you get
That's right.
to the really the core of the problem when you take, right, $5, €5, £5, right?
Well, but this is a very big issue, because while you are talking with builders, for example, no, or constructors, and you tell them that they will save money, they are not interested, you know. So they want to make more money and not to save money, and this is something interesting. And something that we have discovered is that the people who is really interested in saving money is public bodies, because public bodies will have more money to make other projects. And this was demonstrated like 3-4 years ago
Very
in
fair.
one of the European BIM summits by one UK speaker, that after the explanation, the PowerPoint, he told us, and here I will show you schools that we have made with zero budget.
Wow.
And zero budget, everybody was, what means zero budget? And he said, using BIM, we have saved money in our projects, in our working sites. And then with that money, we have been able to make projects that had no budget during this year. So this is the best demonstration that saving money for public bodies is something really useful. No?
I like it. Very nice.
But now what we are focused on is how you make the same trick to builders and developers that are not public, and what they want is more money. And then with this, we are trying to demonstrate that industrialized construction is saving you time, and then you are saving money, because you get the investment before, and not in the bank, And then with this, you can make a new investment. So if you are making one investment, not in 3 years or 4 years, that is normally the range of time that you need to make one work, one block housing in Spain, it took more or less this. Imagine that you can do this with the same money every year. So you are making 3 investments or 4 investments in 4 years instead of one. And
No,
then this is something that they begin to understand. And this is why this BIM implantation is being done right now in several building companies in Spain, because they are requiring this. A requirement is to get back the money from the financial basis in order that you can make more investments in less time. And they are beginning to realize that using digital models, using BIM, using Lean, making, let's say, near collaborative contracts or IPD contracts, they can get that.
make sure. But just one of the things which really you just destroy my view of in terms of the way how we just do this is just that the builders do not want to save the money. That's something which really just I haven't thought about this way.
Yes, they want to make more money, and it's licit, because you are a company, so you need to make money. But this is something I don't want to be long, Piotr and Enrique, but it's something interesting how I was asking myself, I was wondering why Finland was the first country to implant BIM with a mandate, no? And why Arto Kiviniemi, a guy, an architect that got 45 million in 1992 to make several works using new technology in Finland because the government wanted to be more efficient. And he explained us that Finland, let's say, is so poor that they need to be really efficient. So one public servant is not there to make more official machinery in
Bureaucracy.
the public servant in Finland is a person that is obliged to introduce the newest technologies in order to make more efficient the money that they are getting from the citizens. And you say, come on, this is another point of view, so you are there because you have to make as much efficient every euro that one citizen is paying to the government. So if BIM, Lean, any technology that you can use is making more efficient this investment, you are obliged to use it. And if not, people could say, well, you know that all of these technologies exist and you are not implementing and you are wasting our money and you are out. And this is a difference, And this is why Finland, because they need to be efficient also because the snow, the ice, because they have a layer of ice during 8 months of the 12 that they have in a year, they need to make, let's say, efficient construction, effective construction. Because
Clear.
once the snow begins, the winter is coming, once they begin, they have to stop.
Correct. So, Ignasi, we are just going closer to the end right now because we're coming to the 1 hour of the discussion. So this is what we try just to keep it for our viewers to make sure that this is just going to in the 1 hour. Enrique, you just how we started try to conclude it. I appreciate the discussion. Maybe we need to do the chapter 2 because you was just with your experience, you were very inspirational for us. So thank you for that, Enrique.
Yeah, this is what I was thinking. That this is probably worth it to make a chapter 2, a second session of the BIM Cafe with Ignasi Pérez Arnal. So we now publicly we now offer you again to come back in a month, in a week, 2 months time, whenever, and we keep discussing about this because it's really interesting. It's really interesting. Like for us, it's very important to see all this and having you as an inspiration. Whether it's many things we already have and then to discuss. But I think, wow, this is completely enlightening, and I'm happy to see that people are moving even faster and already earlier than us.
Yeah. Well, I'm at your disposal, so when you want, we can do a second chapter.
That's good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ignasi, for the discussion. Thank you for just giving me different aspects. I need to also think, how to present it, because when I'm saying I'm looking for money, it's just not about the earning more and getting more. It's about the more, I think it's in the productivity. So I need to say this a little bit different to make sure there is no confusion there. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Exactly. This is, as I said, Peter, the money is already there. The question is, where's your money? The money is already there. We just need to take better profit of it. So,
Yes.
exactly. Well, thank you so much. Muchas gracias, Ignasi. It was a real pleasure to have you here on board. We are in YouTube.
Thank you.
For everyone. Please subscribe, contact us, recommend, come over, text us. You want to be here. There is a spot here for you. So please, it was a real pleasure to have you on board. We have many topics, many slides more to do. And we just want to have you back on the next season to be keeping doing this for more time. So again, thanks for watching. Muchas gracias to everyone. And we'll see you next time.
You're welcome. Gracias a vosotros.
Chao.
Muchas gracias.
Chao.
Chao.